Look, respect my mind, you can't control the light. The light is cyanide.
A part of our evolution as a species has enabled us to spot patterns, sometimes where you don't even need to, because we're so good at it. You know, something that we needed in our infancy in order to live. So we still do that to this day. And what it does is it shapes our perspective, because we're looking at our differences so much that we almost can't see how much we're all the same. So in this way, you're able to somewhat understand the law of one without distorting it, without making it some new age bullshit, some self-help guru scheme. Just looking at it just like that, you can see that we all share the same resources. We all breathe the same air. We're all a part of the same universe, the same galaxy. And when you scale all the way up, then you realize how small and insufficient, you know, we truly are. Our ego enables us to believe that we're more important than we actually are. Hence why our ancient ancestors came up with spiritual systems and religion, so they could answer some of those hard questions that through our evolution we ended up developing. Being consciously aware, we developed questions, unlike perhaps other animals, like where did we come from? Why are we here? Is there a creator? Is there a beginning, or is there an end? So when you scale all the way out, you can get a much more objective view on what the truth is. So with all of that being said, brings me to the concept of this cyclic reality, this theory that many have. Some people have it in a political, socioeconomic framework, and some people have it from a more religious or spiritual framework. Regardless, it works the same way. And everything happens in cycles. Everything happens in phases. There's, within the spiritual point of view, there's no beginning or end. There's just cycles. But when we look at it in terms of the socioeconomic and political stage, there are superpowers that come and there are superpowers that go. And as superpowers go, new ones form. And the issue that America's having, which a lot of major superpowers have, is accepting what's taking place, understanding that you're going against the universe, an immovable object, and you're better off embracing what's to come and preparing for the new world order that everybody's so terrified of. Stop being scared of it. They're talking about it in the open now. It's here. But you got to get rid of all of the noise. When you add baseless nonsense, total nonsense, because you need it, because it takes you away from reality, and it makes you feel in somewhat protected, because now you have an answer for everything. But when you do that, you ultimately lose, because you're non-effective in this game no more when you do that. And I'm telling you what I know, because I did it. You're a non-factor because you've been sent down a rabbit hole. And that's why you can't get out of it. You can't. Nothing works out for you, for the ones who are in that rabbit hole right now. That's why the active players always seem to win. So yeah, life is unfair. But outside our understanding, there's something already put in motion with every decision that's made. But scaling all the way down, you have the ruling class and you have the slave class. And the ruling class are made to be rulers. They're born to be rulers. And slaves are born to be slaves. They're made to be slaves. Now, the default outcome out of these two conditions is resentment from the other. And the ruling class, usually with access to all of the necessary resources to become knowledgeable on how to thrive in this world, they weaponize that. They utilize all of that to their advantage. The fact that the slave class doesn't have the education, doesn't have the resources, doesn't have the backing to truly go against the ruling class. Because of basic human needs, the slave class ends up falling to the mercy of the ruling class. And the ruling class proceeds to dominate and manipulate and gaslight the slave class with all of the resources and education at its disposal. As this ruling class enjoys their dominance, it doesn't seem off face value that there's anything that the slave class can actually do. They're lacking in resources, education, knowledge of everything that's against them. But even still, there's no way this will be able to last. Based off of basic natural laws of the universe. And typically in these types of situations, you will find weaknesses, soft spots within the ruling class. And a lot of the time, the ruling class are greedy. So these weaknesses exist in the form of the lack of numbers. It's not a whole lot of them. They're more dependent on maintaining all of the resources and all of the power for themselves. If they spread the wealth, then their power simultaneously decreases. Well, this actually goes against them in the exact same way, because where they're strong at is also where they're weak at. And even in the slave class's ignorance, they realize something. And this realization is birthed out of their frustration. It's birthed out of their resentment. But it's also a natural progression within cosmic cycles. It couldn't last that way forever if people wanted to continue to exist. The universe would have to do something. The universe would have to shift something in some way or cause some type of weakness in the dominant class in order to continue its motion or its progression that the universe is chasing in the first place. The universe will never remain stagnant. So when we scale all the way down and we look at this slave class and the ruling class, there will always be a possible change and a shift. That's the universe leaving the doors wide open for it to take place.
Look, you popping like you the Julio, but I know females richer for sure. Standing on big old business. Chopper came with a kickstand and some big old bitches. What else? This other clip hole 50. How you claim you the brick man and you snitched on niggas, you know? I spit this shit so vivid. Don't make a nigga up the stick and flip the switch on niggas, you heard? Hey, standing on big old bitch.
But just expanding on yesterday's topic, when I was discussing how Christian apologists and Christian nationalists have, in a sense, what I'm going to phrase traditionalized using American ideology, the American culture. They've traditionalized this end of the world idea, this biblical ideal of the end of the world, this eschatology, and this Armageddon event, right? It's kind of been morphed and shaped to have, in a sense, America play the role as the last defense, let's just say, against the Antichrist. Let's just do it like that. So America, as this ideal in Revelations and this interpretation has evolved through time, it's almost become Americanized, and America is the new Babylon. And when America falls, that's going to stamp the start of the Great Tribulation and the Antichrist's great reign. And like I was discussing yesterday, I was like, isn't that convenient? It's Christians all over the world, even though the numbers are declining, it's still one of the biggest religions all over the world. People persecuted in all these other countries just for being Christians. And I said it in another video, while Americans cry wolf and claim they're being persecuted, but they're not facing absolutely any persecution at all. And I just find it convenient for them whenever something is going on in America, whenever there's an event, an election cycle, or recession, a depression, or a war, it's, the end of the world. It's the Great Tribulation. We don't know the day or the hour, but it's coming. It's coming soon. But when all of these other nations, who are also believers at a certain capacity, were going through absolute hell a lot of the times from the hands of America and its allies, none of that is being promoted. None of that is being mentioned until America starts to sense some type of decay or deterioration or social conflict. And to go back to what I was saying the other day, you have to have a somewhat diluted perspective and point of view even within this belief system, if you think that the powers that be are going to let you colonize the planet, rape the land of its natural resources, proceed in acts of genocide with Native Americans and other tribes, start American-led coups, drop atomic bombs on people, pollutes the air, waste food by the tons, lie and distort reality to their own interest using the media, then you have a whole nation of people who are totally ignorant to the corruption which they're a part of. And you have the trivial working class American mind, right? You have this warped worldview that they have, where in some way, after all of that I just mentioned, they've placed themselves as the victims, and the whole world is being deceived, and they're going to invite and take the mark of the beast while God saves them, those who reap the benefits of all that horror and terror. Just by you having that warped belief just shows the sick mentality that a lot of Christians have in this country. Just the ignorance of the individuals for them to in any way believe that you're not going to face the laws of cause and effect. It's just insanity to me. They think in some way they're going to be exempt, or they're going to be caught up in a cloud when this glorious, inevitable day takes place. You're going to experience every part of it. You're not going to escape this. How can you escape your judgment while you make everybody else out to be the devil? The universe is proof with your deteriorating social construct and social systems and your declining birth rates and the impact on the economy, the trillions of dollars indebted that the Americans are in, and so many other things that I could mention that is collapsing in this nation. And just like ancient Rome, they utilized the circus to distract the masses from what's going on. Try to distract the people from its inevitable collapse by shaping and molding the narrative.
Look, respect my mind, you can't control the light. The light is I and I.